punched in the stomach, my heart started to race, my whole body started to sweat. And in an instant, there's this full-on spotlight on my deep-seated self-doubt, just reverting me back to like an awkward 14-year-old. She said to me, Amy, you're going to have to start doing the assemblies. Have you ever had that moment where your emotions just hijack your sense of control? Ever since I was a child, whenever I was plunged into the spotlight, like in the school plays, like in rehearsals, I'd be absolutely fine, no problem. But come the night of the show, with all the mums, all the dads watching, I'd clam up, I'd freeze completely, like the words just wouldn't come out. And I had this belief that how I sounded, how I pronounced my words, and what I had to say just simply wasn't good enough. And that theme continued with me through into adult life. And I'd get to certain stages with things, but when it come to that moment where I'd have to use my voice as a tool, as an instrument, I'd back away. I wouldn't want to go to the next stage. And there I was in this moment with my boss as an adult, as a mother, still repeating this narrative of self-doubt, just regurgitating a full laundry list of all of the reasons why I couldn't do it. But it was in that moment that I realised that I'm a role model, not only to the kids that I was working with, but also my own children. And there was no way that I was going to pass that down to my son, to my daughter. So ever since that day, I devoted my time, my energy, into finding the tools, the methods that are out there for overcoming such things. So I began discovering how we operate as human beings, why we do what we do, and how we can change a fixed set of beliefs about ourselves into something much more flexible, much more beneficial for us now. Obviously, I overcame my fear of public speaking. But it wasn't just because of the tools that I learned. Like, the change didn't just happen because of the courses I went on, because of the books that I read, because of the podcasts that I listened to, and just simply wanting the change wasn't enough. It was recognizing that I had to just let go. I had to let go of this expectation that other people had of me. I had to let go of the fears. I had to let go and actually even lose in touch of who I thought I was. And it was where I became ravenous, if you like, determined to find the solutions so that other people didn't have to go what I went through. And it was where I found the one thing that had a direct pathway to that part of the mind, that unconscious part of the mind that is responsible for those old responses, that old behaviour, that old way of thinking. And of all things, it's hypnosis. And the word hypnosis might surprise you, as it does with most people. However, what hypnosis is it's like taking the language of everything that you want to be true for you and feeding it into that part of the mind. Just like hitting reset on a computer, so that now everything works in the way that you want it to. Hi, my name is Amy Cinnamond. I almost forgot to say my second name there for some reason. But hi, I'm Amy Cinnamond. I'm a hypnotist and a personal development coach. And I help people to reduce stress and anxiety and increase their confidence so that they can move into the changes that they want much more easily, much more naturally. And it's my mission now to help people recognise their own abilities, to believe in themselves, which is exactly why I have my Reset and Elevate Your Mind program, because it's a program that is designed to help you transition into those changes that you want in a safe and meaningful way. Now, before we dive in any further about what I offer, one of the things I haven't shared with you is that this is going to be an interactive talk. Because I could start stand here and give you an overview of the tools, strategies for managing stress and anxiety, but I prefer to show rather than tell. But don't worry, I don't have to hypnotise you today. But what I am going to do is I'm going to guide you through a couple of different demonstrations which allows you to, first of all, it's a really quick way of actually reconnecting your mind-body connection, if you like. Demonstrate the power of your imagination. So before we even get started with that, I want you just to take a moment to think about the quality of the information that you receive on a daily basis. Think of the social media that you look at, the podcasts you listen to, the books you read, your family, friends, the people that you're around, and just take a moment to think about the quality of that. Is it typically negative? Is it positive? Is it a large amount continuously, or is it just little trickles throughout the day? And then also begin to think about the information that you give yourself internally, that internal dialogue. What's that like for you? Is that typically motivating, or are you typically self-loathing? And the reason why I bring this up is not to call you out on any of it, so don't worry, there's no right or wrong about this. It's simply bringing it into your awareness. And the reason why it's important to have it in our awareness is because when we have awareness, we have choice, right? And the quality of the information that you give yourself on a daily basis will determine the level of the stress hormone that is released into your body throughout the day. However, I am going to share with you a strategy today to help you practically reduce the stress hormone. It's an evidence-based technique, so there's science behind that proves its efficiency. If you want to find out how mine works, you can ask me at the end. So, does that sound good? Everybody stand up, please. Thank you, if you don't mind. And we're just going to have a little bit of fun. A little bit of play, pretend, just really switching on our imaginations, okay, and turning our attention inwards. So just take a nice deep breath in, breathe on out, just relax, nothing crazy is going to happen, okay, and just hold your arms out in front of you like this, okay, turn your right hand over, take another deep breath in, and this time as you breathe out, just let your eyes close all the way down, good. And all I want you to do is to imagine, begin to allow, begin to notice, begin to imagine that I've placed a large heavy book onto that right hand. Just begin to notice, begin to feel the weight of that heavy book on that right hand. Perhaps you can begin to imagine the colour of that heavy book on that right hand. And just as that heavy book allows the arm to get lower and lower and lower, to continue to feel that weight, perhaps even connecting with a time and a place where you read a book or a book was read to you. Just begin to notice what you can notice as you allow your imagination to feel that heavy book in that right hand. All the while, just turn your attention to your left wrist and just imagine that on your left wrist I've tied a piece of string that is tugging that left wrist upwards, higher and higher, because on the end of that string, all the way up there, high up, is a bunch of helium balloons, and those balloons are floating, lifting higher and higher, higher and higher. Almost as if you can imagine the colour of those balloons, as you get a sense of what that would be like for you. Just begin to notice, begin to imagine those balloons lifting that left arm up higher and higher, higher and higher, floating higher and higher, all the while that right arm getting lower and lower and lower. And just open those eyes, relax those arms on down, shake them off. Good, well done. And just, who wants to share what that was like for them? Who could know, what was that like for you?
I could definitely feel it on the forearm, on the inside of the forearm and the elbow there. And I was visualising this sort of like red, almost like, the old classics, the leather bound ones.
Yeah.
At the beginning of Game of Thrones, where he gets this massive one, he goes, "It's a mighty tome." I was like, "Oh, it's a mighty tome." And then in the balloons, I was imagining, the film Up.
Yeah,
Balloons in the, and then he said about the
Yeah, brilliant. Who had different to that then?
I did emerald green one, but I was like trying to like stop it from happening.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want to drop things.
Yeah, did anyone have different to that?
Yeah, with just I had a black book with it in my big black dictionary. I was like a dictionary, and I was imagining the weight of it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Give yourselves a round of applause. Take a seat. Okay, well done. Now, what's important to realise is, first of all, well done, because you've just demonstrated how powerful your imagination is. I asked you each to think of book, balloon, and yet you each created your very own version of that. Important to remember that. However, the individualness of it doesn't necessarily matter right now, but what's important to realise is that your mind is doing this 24/7, regardless whether you are aware of it or not, regardless of whether it's from an external source, just like for myself right now, or internally from your own thoughts in your mind. You are continuously processing information, and the quality of the information will determine what response you have. Again, most of the time we're not aware. Our mind takes in 2.3 million pieces of information in at any 1 second. You cannot possibly be aware of it. I'm not going to go into that though. But that's just steered me off down the wrong route. Let me just bring myself back to what we were talking about initially. So when it comes to managing stress and anxiety, the awareness of the information that you are giving yourself is key. And it's also the starting point, because when you are aware, you are immediately in a better position than most people when it comes to making changes for yourself. I had a client of mine, she reached out to me through Facebook, and she's had a bit of an issue. She'd been trying to shift for quite some time, and once she joined the program with me, I reached out, asked her how well things were going for her, and she said that all of a sudden I'm very aware of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling about. Like, she described it as now she's in the driver's seat. Like, she can still hear the backstreet driver trying to take her down that same old road, but now she's the one in charge. Realising just how easy it all becomes. And again, it's when we don't have awareness, that's when things can get messy. So, I've forgotten where I was at now. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to share with you guys is how we can actually reduce the stress hormone. So awareness, number one, that's key. Okay, because when we have awareness, it gives us choice. However, we don't always like what we are thinking and feeling about. And this is where we've got to be mindful with ourselves, because when it comes to feelings of stress, anxiety, panic, guilt, fear, shame, all of this, they can often be related to past traumatic experiences. And when these experiences are left unresolved, hence those emotions that come up. However, one of the great things about hypnosis is that we can create the possibility of going back to that very first time that you can remember, feeling that feeling that has everything to do with why you contacted me in the first place, where we can create that possibility of not going back to analyse the why it happened. Not at all. Think of it more as a slingshot, where we are pulling back in order to propel you forward into a much more beneficial and much more empowering feeling for you now. And that's just one of the ways in which hypnosis works, and it's a fundamental part of my Reset and Elevate Your Mind program. Think of it like, you're no longer holding on to the past, which means you can move into that future self that you want to create for yourself. Just a little bit like chipping away at those layers that just don't belong anymore. Make sense? Yeah. Okay, so I've totally done this the wrong way around, by the way. But anyway, let me bring you back to this strategy that I want to share with you. Because what's important about this is to realise that, one, it's an evidence-based technique, so there's science behind that proves why it works. There's a neuroscientist called Amy Cuddy. She has an excellent TED Talk that you can check out on YouTube. There's other research that has been done over the years, but the way that Amy presents it, for me, it's an easy way to understand. And it comes from neuro-linguistic programming. It's something that's called Grace and Power. It's used by politicians, by athletes, actors, and it's something that was an absolute game changer for me when I learned this. And it's something that you can implement into your daily life. On your dog walk is like the perfect person. Not your dog walk, just you walk, and we don't love dogs. And it's something that I do every day. It's part of who I am now. It's something that I've taught my children, other members of my family. It's something that is so simple that it literally takes hardly any effort at all to implement. And the next time I see you, you're going to tell me how amazingly well this has worked for you. Okay, so for this, everybody stand up again, please. And to kind of demonstrate this, we have to go through this process. So first of all, I just want you to let your head come down, let your shoulders come forward, and just have your chin down and have those eyes looking down, as if you're looking down towards your chest. And all I want you to do, for a very brief moment, okay, we're not going to stay there, but for a brief moment, just think of something really sad for you and notice what that's like. If you don't want to feel sad, just feel something scary. Think of something sad or scary for you. Just for a moment, notice what it's like. Now stay in that same position, head down, eyes down, shoulders slung forward. And this time I want you to try and think of something really positive. Something that normally has you absolutely buzzing, jumping for joy. Just notice what that's like. Keep those eyes down, head down. And you'll feel like you want to move right now, but keep it there. And just notice what it's like. Perfect. Now, change your position. So this time, head up, shoulders back, chest up, chin up, and have your eyes looking up as high as is comfortable for you, as high as possible. Excellent. Now in this position, keeping those eyes up, head up, I want you to think of that same sad thing or scary thing that you thought of before, and just notice what it's like now. Just try and think of that same sad thing. Notice what that's like for you now. Good. Stay in that position, head up, eyes up, because this time, I want you to think of that really positive thing. That thing that has you absolutely buzzing, jumping for joy. Notice what that's like in this position. Good, excellent. And just relax. Say something up for me. Okay, what did you notice about that?
The heaviness.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, heaviness. Especially in that position, the heaviness that my body felt. It was like I was being drawn down.
When you try to think of the sad thing.
When I thought of the sad thing.
Yep.
And then again, when I thought of the positive thing, I started to feel like, and then my brain started thinking, balloons. Because I was like, I was being lifted off the floor.
See how much I've influenced you tonight with those
Yeah. I don't think you've done it the wrong way. I think you've done it the right way around.
Who had different to that? What did you notice? I mean, you might have had a similar experience where when you looked up, you can still think of the sad thing, yet the intensity of the emotion will be very different.
I was just going to say that when you're like looking down, and I think looking down, shoulders down, everything, getting into that, thinking of the sad thing is you're there straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're trying to think of a positive or a happy thing or whatever, it's that, I've got that like in my stomach. So
Yeah.
wanting to pull me in one way and pull me in
Notice how
another.
your body wanted you to change position, right?
And then when you're looking up, I was like, when you're like, oh yeah, look up, think the positive thing, I was like, super.
It was harder to think of the sad thing looking upwards. It was hard to conjure that. It was the same sad thing. But I also felt like you say, like the heaviness, that I felt like my chest was sort of, I felt like the breathing in, not that my actual breathing changed, but
When
I
you
felt
were
like
looking
the
down.
breathing in this bit
Are we
here.
breathing?
I felt something here. It was a weird sensation. And then when you said don't look up, because I could feel my face start to move like that. Like, yeah, it's weird.
It's weird, isn't it? How we often think that our mind is the part of us that's in control. And yet two thoughts, same thing each time, and yet your body was trying to run the show. Your body was trying to move you into the position to allow the chemical process to begin. Because what we were doing there was changing our bodies on a biochemical level. So we're thinking of the physiology of what's going on inside of us. What was that like for you, Az?
I just felt loads more sad when I was looking down.
Yeah.
And it was like hard to think of the happy things when I was looking down.
Yeah. And if you those moments when it might not be so great for you, or even think about other people that you know who might display a lot of depressiveness, thinking about their body language now, how they typically stand, how they typically hold their body. It's often in this head down, shoulders down, stomach down position. One of the first things that I do when I work with people who are depressed is to actually get them to stand up straight. This is a game changer for people who are really spiraling into their emotion, because when we are upright, we can still think of the negative thing, but notice how much more kind of easier it became to deal with it. Almost as if like the emotions, yeah, they were there, but they just weren't as intense, that you weren't getting dragged back into them. Okay, so let's go back there, head up, shoulders back. We're not done yet, ladies, we're almost done. You weren't expecting a full-on workout tonight, were you? Alright, chest up, head up, shoulders back, chin up, eyes up. And again, remembering that really positive thing, that's great for you, because we're going to add to this a little bit. And this is something that I would use in coaching, something that I would use in with hypnosis. And we're going to add to this using Amy Cuddy's method. Well, it's not actually her method, but it's what she experimented on. Having those eyes up, head up, we're going to add to it by simply bringing our arms up. Look at that. Look how the smiles on your face has increased just doing that. So again, go back to those thoughts in your mind. Notice how different your body feels already just from being in this position. You could literally stand like this and think of fairies farting and still feel amazing. Like literally nothing in your mind, and stand like this and feel amazing, because the chemistry that is going on in the body now is oxytocin is being released by up to 25%. 25% oxytocin being released just from being in this position now. And guess what, ladies? When you stand like this for up to 60 seconds or up to 2 minutes, if you can bear it, because it's armpit, you actually reduce the stress hormone by up to 20-25%. And that's the science that everybody buzzes over, because it reduces the stress hormone so rapidly in such a short amount of time. Now, if your arms start to ache, just put them on your hips. This is what Amy Cuddy calls the Wonder Woman pose. How fucking powerful do you feel when you sit like this? Imagine having your walk with your head up, shoulders back. I mean, I have literally walked around the block like this before, right? Because one, it's a good conversation starter, but two, I feel amazing from doing it. But hands on hips is just as good. Have your feet shoulder width apart. Squeeze your legs, lift your chin up, close your eyes, and just begin to think about something that you want to have happen in your life. Think about something that you want to have happen in your business, whether it's working with the perfect client, whether it's making loads of money, whether it's going on holiday somewhere, whatever it is for you. And just imagine now as if you are there already achieving it, as if you already have it. And just notice that. Notice what you can see, hear, and feel, and just really allow yourself to absorb those sensations. Noticing how easy it is. And just relax. And take a seat, give yourself a round of applause. Okay, so now you know this stuff, there's no going back. Okay? And again, next time I see you, can be like, Amy, that technique that you taught me was amazing. Brilliant. Now, does anyone have any questions before I wrap up? No? Perfect. So, for those of you that want to continue the conversation, you can go to my website, which is youtubecoaching.com. That's you, the letter U, to the letter U coaching. Or you can go to my socials, which is Amy Cinnamon Hypnosis. Cinnamon, like the spice with the D on the end. You were going to get a free gift from me tonight in your emails, but I forgot to do it. I forgot to send it to Catherine. I was meant to actually send it last week, not on the day, and I thought, oh, crap. So, at some point this week, maybe it's tomorrow, whenever, you'll get an email off Catherine. She's got all your email addresses, and it will say Amy's free gift, and it will be a link that you can click on, and that link will give you access to what I call my 72-hour immersion in confidence. And it's where I share 3 of the top strategies that I do with my clients when it comes to public speaking fears, or when they have to do a talk at a presentation like this, or a job interview, or they're doing a speech at the best mate's wedding. That's always the one that is the taker for that. And you will get those videos to your inbox, and they're yours for entirely. There's no time limit to them or anything like that when you watch them. If you don't want to wait for the email, you can go on my socials on Instagram, and it's just a link on the bio, and you'll see it there. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.